we'll get started talking about what to do with those little weights that you have in your house, that you bought years ago, that you know exactly where they are, but you don't know what to do with them, right? We all have them. At Nick and Mai's house, they happen to be 10-pound weights, but they're right under the stairs that we had. At my parents' house, they keep them in the top shelf in the coat closet, and that's where they keep them. And at your house, I'm sure you know exactly where they are, but you may not necessarily know what you should be doing with them. And so this is actually inspired by one of my patients who said to me, Cal, what do I do with these things? Right? Like we do like training stuff and we do all these different movements and sometimes we use the bands, but what do I do with these weights? And before I talk about what to do with them, I want to talk about why it's important to use them, right? So to oversimplify something, and I'll put some comment or a link to some articles for you guys to read about why strength training, especially as we get older, is effective and really important, right? But the primary one that comes to mind and the first one that I'll talk about is bone density, right? What we call bone density, right? And bone density means the fragility of your bones, right? If you have low bone density, something like, I'm going to exaggerate, right? But imagine that your bones are like a toothpick, okay? And they hit into something and the toothpick cracks, right? Low bone density, not a good thing. High bone density means, essentially translates to strength, right? It's almost like, think of your, instead of a toothpick, it's like a nail, right? A nail goes into something and the nail changes it. It doesn't change its form. So the point of lifting weights and the point of doing any kind of body weight training or weight bearing training is to increase bone density. Yeah, it's going to have all these other good side effects. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you look better. It's going to increase your endurance. It's going to do all kinds of stuff. The primary reason, if you ask any physical therapist or anybody who's worth their weight in the medical profession of is strength training important? Absolutely, because it increases your bone density. When you have higher bone density, should, heaven forbid, something happen to you, right? You fall, you get in an accident, right? Any number of things, right? You get in a, I don't know, you get in a sports injury, that kind of thing. The stronger your bones are, the less likely they are to break, right? And the less intense the rehab or the less intense recovery because they were strong to begin with, right? So that's the primary reason. The secondary reason, and it's a little less obvious, has to do with grip strength, right? How strong can we make a fist, right? And so I want you to just do a little experiment. If you're on live, tell me if you notice a difference when you make a fist, right, with either hand. Does one hand feel stronger than the other? And it's normal to have a little asymmetry, right? But does one hand feel significantly stronger than the other, right? So do that test of like, all right, mine feel about equal, right? But it's normal if you have a little bit of asymmetry, but notice if one feels a lot stronger than the other, because grip strength has a really good correspondence with quality of life, similar to walking speed, right, which we talked about in our last video. So grip strength, right, by using a weight, right, this is different. I'm a big proponent of body weight exercise, but it's hard to get grip with body weight exercise. Pull-ups are a different story. Not everybody has a pull-up bar. But when you have to hold onto a weight, you're improving your grip strength, right? I see this all the time. Sometimes I'll have people like grip a sock or a rag or some other soft object just to start improving their grip strength. But when you hold a weight, you have to hold it strong, otherwise it's going to fall out of your hand and break something. So those are my two primary reasons. They're not traditional reasons at all, right? The first is to increase bone density, and the second is to improve your grip strength, right? The stronger your grip strength is, and think about it, right? If you can hold on to a railing, if you can hold on to a shower, like a bar in a shower, right? Gripping a steering wheel, that kind of stuff, you need it, right? To unscrew a jar, you need it in your life, especially as you get older, okay? So grip strength is one, and the other is bone density. But enough of the why, right? We know it's important, right? I have to justify this with why it's important, right? But here's how to use them, right? So I'm in my clinic here, and the closest I have to a little weight is a kettlebell, right? This is a 5-pound kettlebell. So all the stuff I'm going to show you can be done with two little weights. You've got 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds. It doesn't matter, right? The most important thing is you're going to grip it, you're going to hold it in such a way, right, where you have to hang on to it, okay, like that. This one I can happen to hold it this way and I can do things with it and it'll stay. But if you have a dumbbell, you're gonna have to hold it strong, okay? So, first thing I wanna show you is very simple. It's called a push press. You're gonna take your dumbbells, your little dumbbells that you have, and we're gonna just go straight up, overhead. Straight up into what we call like a push press or a shoulder press. Sometimes I'll do these against the wall because it forces my posture to be good. The biggest mistake people make with this is they heave ho and they use other parts of their body to get the weight up there. Start with a super light weight. Start with that pink one, right? And we're just going straight up overhead. If you have a kettlebell like this, sometimes I'll point it to the ceiling and I'll go up that way, right? But just straight up overhead. Okay, and that's going to work big gross shoulder muscles in there, but also you're going to feel it in your forearm because you're going to be gripping that weight really good, right? So that's the first one, is a shoulder push press. It's very simple. If you have questions about it, don't hesitate to reach out. The next one I want to show you is a tricep extension. Okay, 2 different ways we can do this. With the weight in your right hand, drop back your right foot, and then swing the weight up behind you. Okay, a couple different ways. I'm going to use my palm to the ceiling right now, and all I'm going to do is pulse up to the sky. And I'm going to feel that all in the back of my shoulder muscles through here, right? And I'm going to turn and face you guys so you can see my shoulders are square, up, straight, up, behind me. Okay, that's option 1. Option 2, I'll show you on my left side. Option 2 is you go straight, keep it up behind you, bend, straighten. Bend, straighten, right? So rather than moving from your shoulder, which we did on the first one, you're going to move from your elbow through here, right? That's going to, again, going to target that tricep. Bonus, option 3 here. I'm going to turn backwards so you guys can see me from here, right? So from here, up and behind, okay, raise it up, and then we go in. Okay, so almost across like the midline of your body. And we just pulse it in. You'll notice that it's tiny movements. It's not a lot of movement. It's not a big, crazy lift, right? It's tiny, but it gets a good little burn in the fibers of those muscles, okay? So that's 2. And then 3 is we're going to do these little tiny curls, okay? So wide stance here, okay? If you had another weight, you use it, right? If you didn't, no big deal. You use one hand. Okay, and it's a regular bicep curl from here, but I want your elbows out a little bit, okay, so that you can't use your body to stabilize. And if you want to get a little bonus, then you go wide and you squat, and you go through here, okay. By not letting your elbow rest against you, you're using other muscles to stabilize your shoulder into this position, right, and we're up tall, turn. Show you from here, and we straighten out through here. The other way you can do this is with a little tiny pulse down at the bottom. So from here, right, you can just pulse, raising up, just like that. Okay, so before we bent our elbow backwards, now we're bending it forwards. Okay, the most important thing is your posture, right? Check that. And then you're activating the right muscle group. You should feel that all through your bicep area through there. All right. There are plenty of ways that you can use those little tiny weights to get a really good workout and get the benefits of improving your bone density and your grip strength, along with the other benefits, right, of feeling good and looking better and all that other good stuff that comes with being healthy. But those are really good, simple ways to start. You guys know I'm an advocate for body weight training, right? Any kind of push-up, any kind of pull-up. If you have a pull-up bar, even just hanging from a pull-up bar, you can't get all the way up there, just hang. That'll improve your grip strength. But really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated, right? You just have to do it. That's all it boils down to. So if you have any specific questions, please reach out to me. I think this was a really good question that I got asked, and is going to help you guys to dust the cobwebs off of those little weights and start using them, right? Just start using them. You can add them, to just about any exercise that you're already doing. If you have a specific one that you're like, hey, like, how do I make this harder, Cal? Just reach out. I'm here for you. But that's all for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I want to remind you that there's a ton of free information if you are hurting or you're not sure how to best treat an ache or a pain that's come up. I've talked about this before. It's much easier to treat it when it's just a little ache or pain than one that's screaming at you. So head over to my website, it's drcoachkellypt.com, to get any of those free resources that I have for you guys. And if there's anything else I can do for you, I'm here for you. Okay? Keep getting better every day. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you next week.